Hello, everybody, and welcome to Problem Solve Her. I am your co-host, Chloe, along with my girl,
Dagmar.
Dagmar's in the house. And today we have a guest co-host, Ashley, who already recorded with us previously. Her episode is out now. And this is a place for women and men to share their stories and their experiences. And it's innovative and it's fun and it's creative. And we're solving life's problems just one step at a time.
We would like to take this moment to thank our sponsors. Bronzea is a mobile spray tanner which can be done in the comfort of your own home. Founded by Gina, an experienced beauty professional with a cosmetology license of over 9 years. Bronzea was birthed by name and cross-pollinated from Bronze and Dea, meaning goddess in Italian. Gina really missed giving women that inner confidence and glow one spray at a time. So, are you ready to unlock your inner Bronzea and allow Gina to make you feel fabulous before meeting a family affair, maybe a night out with your significant others, or maybe it's ladies' night? So please go to Bronzea Spray Tans at Instagram and use promo code ProblemSolvHer, no E on solve, for the month of September.
You know, we're just out here trying to be Mother Teresa's every inch of the day and just, saving babies and dogs. No, but really, we are here to help you in any way and solve any problems that you may have. And I just want to share a little story before we begin. I did an episode recently with my brother, Dagmar friend Dylan, and the responses that we received from people growing up was incredible. And friends that reached out and said, I'm so happy to see you guys. I listened to this episode. I shared it with family in London or other places of the world. Incredible, insightful. So we want feedback. And if we can touch people, that means so much to us. And that being said, we've brought Ashley back because not only is she our youngest person that we've had on, and I say that because our audience is, I think, Dagmar, like 40 to 55 and 25% men. But
Yeah,
Ashley's so
35 and
mature for
over.
her age that we thought we would play a little fun game. And Dagmar always asks the great questions. So we're going to just kind of get into it and we're going to get started today.
Yep.
Ashley, we're giving you an.
Hey.
Are you happy to be back?
Yes, I could talk to you guys all day long.
See, Dag, people can talk to us all day.
Yeah, and that's beautiful because that's how women solve problems, talking through it.
Gotta talk it
That's
out.
That's exactly the goal of this podcast. So let's start with the topic. So the topic today is kind of divided in two parts. One part is what I wish I knew at 20, more for Chloe, and then what I hope for at 40, more for Ashley. So let's get started.
Okay, excellent. Well, when I was 20 specifically, or in my 20s, I wish that I trusted myself more in the sense that I always trusted my gut and my intuition, but trusted myself in general, meaning more my confidence and my independence and my inner strength. And I relied more on that like I do now in my 40s because we can be our biggest cheerleaders and our biggest critics at the same time. And I think, they say that a woman's brain doesn't even develop until 23 or 24, and a man is 26 or 27. Of course, men are later than us, we know that. But I think that, in your 20s, you're trying to really figure yourself out. And I can't even say really evolving yet. It's more just learning yourself and obviously making mistakes and trying to figure things out. And I know that that's a crucial time in a lot of women's lives because we take everything so personally and everything affects us. Every decision we make, every relationship we're in, every job we choose, if we're in an argument with a friend, how much we let it consume us and bother us, or if a boss says something, we can't get over it and we're up all night. Well, I'll tell you something, in my 40s, ain't none of that stuff's bothering me now. So that would kind of be my, synopsis and the short view of that. But I'd love to hear what Ashley would like to hear when she gets in her 40s, like this gal here?
So in like what I hope for myself in my 40s,
Yes.
I because I think I touched on this last time that I talked to you guys is I'm mature, but I'm still growing. And I feel like I'm growing at such a rapid rate. Like it was just in the past couple years that I really kind of like it just clicked. Something clicked in my mind. But there are things that I'm working on. And so I hope in my 40s that I have less ego and I just do whatever I want without sitting and pondering. Because that's something that I have a problem with now where I will just sit and I will let things play out in my head. If I don't like something, oh, I'll keep doing it because it makes this person happy, But I really think I still, in my 40s, I need to be totally, ego needs to be gone. I need to be living for myself, know when to let go of things. If I have a thought, don't let that thought come across twice, rip it off like a band-aid. It's always easier when you do it immediately rather than waiting. And I think now as I'm learning my values and things change, right? Like maybe 10 years from now, I'll think differently, but really understand myself and my values and my feelings, listen to what I truly think and have my own opinion. Because the longest time I didn't have my own opinion. I was afraid to have my own opinion. And I can create the life I want if I do that for myself. So I hope at 40, I am happy with everything that I've done and I'm striving to create that life that I want without any ego, without any regret or feeling like I need to ponder on something to make someone else happy that's probably not even thinking about how I'm feeling.
That's beautiful.
Excellent. I love that.
I just
Well,
thought about Chloe's in her 40s and Ashley's in her 20s. I'm in my 50s. What's interesting, and I thought about it after our episode with Ashley, as I was in my 20s, you didn't have the courses and podcasts and videos today, which speak about the nervous system, how to regulate your nervous system, and how to become self-aware and about self-love. As I grew up, it was about Mars and Venus, how to understand man better, how to analyze man better so that you can fit in, manipulate, create the outcome you want. So it was never about how can you grow? How can you become the person you want? It was a huge amount of focus getting a relationship and making the relationship work with the outcome you want. Now these days, where now I'm all about self-improvement, self-growth, personal growth, self-love, childhood trauma, like I'm working on my inner child, healing my inner child and everything that was not available in my 20s. And I really would have wished now looking back that I would have that available. And like everybody who's now in their 20s, 30s, or 40s and has that available, you can save so much time going through that. Without that, you stay in relationships you don't want to stay in and you believe you can make it work, right? And you can change them. Or in your jobs and you stay because you don't believe in yourself and you don't think you get another good job, or you're scared to travel, or you're scared to be yourself or say what you think. And there's so much mental and emotional freedom available right now, and so many sources out there we can tap into to really fully expand. I think that's amazing. And I don't think ever, like, I know my mom did not have this ability. They were like war children. So like there was just daily survival. And when you're married for life. So no matter if you have a good marriage or a hateful marriage or a cheating, disappointing marriage, whatever. So I think this is now really the time, if we want to create a difference in the world and create change in the world, this is the time for us to do that.
absolutely. That's beautiful, Dagmar. It's so lovely to see different perspectives of three strong, fabulous, and beautiful women from different decades, right? Tell their story. Because some of what Ashley said rings true for me, and some of what Dagmar said rings true. So in my 20s, people were going to therapists then. I recall having one in my 30s when I was living in New York because I was in a very toxic, unhealthy relationship and I was trying to break out of it. And I started seeing this therapist, but I had seen one maybe in my early 30s and maybe even in my late 20s now that I'm thinking about it. But the resources were not as big as they are now in terms of everyone talks about mental health and balance and self-awareness. I think that in my 20s there wasn't a lot of self-awareness living in New York City because everyone was very vapid and self-consumed about looking good and going to all these fabulous parties and having these really cool jobs. And where are you going tonight? What list are you on? What club are you getting into? I mean, this is what was happening in New York City during that time. It just was. I'm going back to the early 2000s and like maybe like 2005, 2006. I think it was more just kind of, live hard, play hard mentality. Go out on a Thursday night to an event and, you feel so great to be there and you're like meeting all these cool like celebrities are there and you're like, wow, in my 20s. And I appreciated it. I know a lot of people just kind of took that for granted. I actually really appreciated it, but you're also just living in that moment. It's just everything's moving so fast. It's New York City, it's a New York minute. And I didn't have time to do what Ashley can do now in her 20s and really reflect and see what's important and who you want in your life and who you don't want in your life. And that really big part of self awareness. But I think part of it also is if you live in a place like New York City, like London, these very fast paced kind of cultures and societies, it just moves so quickly. You don't have time for yourself. And I think it's great that Ashley, at her age now, is living in South Florida and in a space where it's not moving as fast. There are some, parts. We have a city here, we live in downtown, but the movements are a little bit slower and she can really appreciate and go on these long walks that she needs with Penelope and kind of have that balance.
Yeah. No, and I think a lot of it because I've had a thing where I felt like I always need to live downtown so I can walk everywhere. If I want to get drinks, I need to be able to walk there. That type thing where I've grown out of that now just within the past couple of months. But it's like keeping up with the Joneses at some point where you're like, okay, I need to go to this party or this bar because they're there or oh, they hang out here. I need to go there. And I just like it's so nice to be like, okay, I don't want to do that. I'm over it. Like I would rather get up and walk than get up and have a hangover and have to waste my day because we only get so much life, like I don't want to look back and be like, oh, I went out all night with people that I don't really care about and they don't really care about me. But, the next day I just was rotting in my bed, or didn't eat healthy or didn't exercise, didn't really do anything productive.
What you just said is so interesting. I think I saw this podcast was Diary of a CEO. It was Lewis House, one of them. And they talked with a doctor, and the doctor said, was for people like 40 and older, 40, 50, 60, if they could go back to their 20s and would be more aware of what they put in their mouth, food-wise, alcohol-wise, negativity-wise, how this, like, you don't think about it when you're 20 or 30 or 40 that you really feel the health issues. But when you're in your 50s, all the bad things you did in your younger years, and especially if you did it so long, right? It's so affecting your life quality. And I never thought about it. And like naturally, because my dad was a chain smoker and pretty bitter, negative. So my little sister and I always wanted to do the opposite. Or my dad, when he drank beer, then he got so, like one beer was enough to switch his personality. And my God, he became so angry and everything. And we naturally just went to the other side and then we don't want to be like that, right? So that was really a benefit. But oh my God, as I grew up, sugar, like candy and cake and pastries and
Dad, you
everything.
still have a sweet tooth. I know. I was just with you a few months. She's in
It's
incredible shape and she eats so well, but don't let her small frame and her very good figure fool you. She loves a
and my
chocolate
beautiful
and
skin. Don't forget my beautiful
yes, and
skin.
your fabulous German skin. But she loves a sweetie. She loves who doesn't?
See, I
I'm
used to
only
not like sweets, and then I got with Adam, and he's like, "I need a sweet treat, like, to change the
Adam.
flavor in my mouth." My boyfriend, yeah.
But here's the thing. We
His
also
big muscles that he just showed us.
yeah, but listen, you can still be in that incredible shape. And I think it's all about balance and, everything in moderation. We can't live our lives with it's interesting because there's a few doctors that are my doctors that have told me flat out, I drink several times a week. I have red wine. And I'm very strict with what I drink. I don't drink hard alcohol. It doesn't break down your system, but red wine is good for you and they're doing it. Sometimes if you go to urgent care or outside a hospital, visit someone, don't you see all the doctors and nurses smoking cigarettes because they're so stressed out?
Am I not aware?
Oh yeah, I've always seen that. The nurses are always out there having a cig or a doctor. And I smoked for many years, but I quit cigarettes at least 9 years ago. But I was never a heavy smoker. But in terms of the drinking or the food and just having a little bit of sweets here and there or a little dessert every night, but you cut all the sugar and the carbs out earlier, you didn't drink any alcohol. I think we have to give ourselves a little grace because I think it could go one way, very extreme, or the other, where you're indulging way too much and drinking every single night. And you're like, oh my God, I need a break from alcohol, but this is coming up and I have a wedding and I have a party and I have to go to this event. Or you're so strict with yourself. You're like, I'm going to take a little bite of the cookie. It's just going to be a little morsel and that's it. I mean, that's not fun either.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
No,
I
it's all
think,
about balance.
yeah. And I think the other thing, what I see now for you two in your 20s and your 40s, in the old days, perhaps you thought about who you are and if the life you live is what you want when something bad happened to you. I was married in my 20s and my husband died with 36. And that was like a life-changing moment, right? And I was working a lot at the time because from a job perspective. And after all that happened, I thought, is that the life I want to live? Like I lost my everything and all what I have is work now, right? Yeah, you have your social networks but he was like my best friend. And that really was for me a spiritual awakening from a perspective that I stopped just being in the red race or red wheel or treadmill, whatever, and really started thinking about who do I want to be? And am I this person already? If not, how can I get there? And that's really where I did a lot of work on myself. And I had no clue about then the nervous system and childhood trauma, generational trauma, attachment styles and all this thing. Had no clue about. But I knew, and my little sister and I, we were very close. We knew we didn't want to be like our parents, like bitter in life and angry with life, but they couldn't change. They could not change. And so every time when I felt I got angry about something which had no meaning, right? Like hour later, a day later, you forgot it why you were angry. So that's how I little by little started changing. But coming back to what I said earlier, now is such a gift that you hear it publicly everywhere in the podcasts and magazines, you read it in the radio, you hear about it, the opportunities you can take advantage of in a positive way to live a healthy life emotionally, physically, mentally, and spiritually.
That's beautiful. I know the story about your husband, and I can't imagine what that was like to go through on your own at that age. It stays with you forever. And I know that was your one true love. And he's always going to be, and he's watching you and he's always above and he's seeing you and he'll give little signs, whether the light flickers and you're thinking of him or you walk down the street and something reminds you. So like you said, it was a really big wake up call because your whole world came crashing down at a young age and you had to rebuild. And I'm so proud of you because you're so strong. And I know how difficult that was. And when we go through things when we're younger, traumas, whether it's family or friends or losing a loved one, it really affects us as we get older. And I had not anything like that. But when I was growing up in high school, believe it or not, and in my very early 20s, multiple people that I grew up with in my hometown that I was close with had passed away. One specifically in a very tragic car accident where everyone lived but him, and he was 17. And I didn't understand what that meant at that age. And unfortunately, and we don't have to get into this topic today because it's a very heavy one, but death comes to all of us at some point, some young, some 110. Every time I go to Italy, all the nonas are chain smoking cigarettes and drinking 20 cups of coffee a day and 3 bottles of red wine. And they're like 110.
It's the
Certain
clean
societies
water
and
and the
cultures,
clean air.
yeah. But certain cultures, they live these, the Japanese have the longest life expectancy. They're drinking sake every night. Don't let them fool you. But they eat very slowly and a little bit, in the green teas, and they're very into spiritual and wellness. But Ash, it would be interesting to know if Dagmar knows I don't like this. What's your 5 or 10 year plan? I think it's just like, no, but I think it's been going on forever. I don't think it's organic or natural anymore. So I'm going to flip it and say, where would you like to be when you're in your 40s? Where do you really want to see kind of the future? If you had a crystal ball and was like, this is where I'd like to be in the next 12 to 14. Like, what would that look like for you?
I mean, as of right now, I don't want kids, but I want another dog. So I just want to be a dog mom. I want to have my whole life set up to where I just have myself and my mortgage team. And, if social media takes off, cool, I'll do that too, because it's fun for me. That's my life. I enjoy posting it. I want to be traveling and just have the ability, and I have the ability now to travel, but is it wise to be traveling all the time? Probably not. I need to put my head down and go to work. So I want to be able to travel. I haven't even been to Europe yet. I'd like to be doing frequent European summers each summer. I want to have a house on the water. I'd like Adam to get a boat for us, that kind of thing. But I just want to be able to live freely and be able to say, I built this by myself, no help from a man, no help from family, all me. And I
Good
wanna
for you.
inspire others. I love helping others and inspiring people, and, I think a lot of people are told, "Oh, you can't do that," or I just heard somebody yesterday tell me, "Oh, it's only, like, the top 1% that can be successful." Not true. If your
That's not
mind
true at all.
I know, I was so mad when I was talking to him, but if your mind thinks you can do it and you really wanna do it, it will happen. So, that's what I think, and I know that's where I'll be when I'm 40, so.
Why didn't you just say you are the top one? You're the
Yeah.
top 1%. I mean, like,
Wouldn't that have been such an ego
I
boost?
mean, the one percenters, first of all, when people talk about the one percenters, that's people, the ultra high net worth individuals. Okay. And not everyone has to be, ultra high net worth to be successful. Let's start there. So that's just whoever that guy is, please delete and return to sender. But going back to wanting to travel, I go to Europe every summer since I was a kid. Thank God my parents really instilled that in us. And sometimes I go twice, and sometimes in May, sometimes in September. So when you're ready, girl, we'll do it. And obviously Dagmar is European, so she's been all over Europe. We could do
Yes.
like a girls trip. Something has to happen with her cats though, so we can all go on a girls trip.
I'm taking Navi then.
You're
Wait,
gonna take her
what's
to Ibiza? Yes.
yes, no, I'll go.
Ibiza. Yeah.
So I wanted to do an entire south of France and Italy trip this summer, but I started planning it too late. Adam was like, "We can do it, but I think you're really stressed with, you know, because I wanted, gosh, we were cramming too much in one, and I had never been. He was like, pump the brakes, save that for next
You
summer." So
literally need, for your first time you're going, at least 6 months. Everyone laughs at me, but I do a family trip I started planning, we had 12 of us, Dagmar, in January, and we went in July. But to wrangle all those people together and where we're going to stay and the flights. So, if South of France, just so you know, is probably one of the most, if not most expensive places in Europe to go. So,
That's
if you're
okay.
going to do that and you want to do it right, like you said, get a couple more big deals under your belt so you can go balls to the wall, girl, and not even worry about it and plan it for next year and have that as like a goal. Ooh, I like that for you.
Yeah. Well, it's so funny because I was talking to your dad about commercial real estate on Friday, and yesterday this guy calls me and I got my first commercial real estate deal. I'm
I'm
like,
so proud of you.
come from, you
Well,
know?
you can talk to my dad and you can ask him any advice on it because he's the guru.
Good. Yeah, no, I think I got it figured out, but I want to get more because they're actually really easy. I didn't understand how easy they were.
And that's where the real money is. Well, they might be easy on that side, but not on the brokerage side because there's so many layers, especially if you're reading rent rolls and you're going over the price per foot and the income and the expenses and everything involved, especially if it's
Yeah.
a larger scale. It's a lot of details. But if you
Well,
can,
I just submitted the rent roll yesterday. So I'm like, we're at the beginning stages, but it's fun so far. Maybe it's just because it's a little different from a
good.
resident.
I
But
love that for you.
Congratulations, Ashley.
Good for
thank you.
you. See that? She's wheeling and dealing, Dagmar.
Yeah,
She does what she has to do to get her results and her dreams come true. You do
But she
exactly.
whatever it
also
takes.
said she wants to do it on her own. So when you're a driven woman and you're independent, even if your man is successful and makes money and you want to do it on your own, you have more drive.
Yep. Yep. And, I think speaking on that, I used to get jealous when people were like, oh, yeah, like I'm not going to work. I kind of want a relationship like that. Adam gave it to me and I was like, oh no, pump the brakes on this. Like, I'm going back to work. I do not want to ask you for anything. I'm going to do everything on my own. And, if you want to gift me some stuff, you can gift me some stuff.
Absolutely. I,
You
I
know?
take all gifts in every shape, size, whether it's a
Yeah.
car or
Feels
vacation.
good to like
Yeah,
do things.
yeah. Don't give up on that. I think that's so important that you said that because women, especially I want to say in the last 10 years, have really made themselves more self-sufficient and really independent and wanting to work and having their own money. Because like you said, having to rely on somebody makes us feel weak and small. And there are plenty of women. Listen, my mom stayed home. My dad, she worked when they first got married. She had this big job at ABC. She was a producer at Dagmar. You know the story. And my dad was trying to be this big actor and he was going up against roles with, Richard Gere. You heard that story, Ashley. And my mom was really kind of floated them for a while. And then when my dad started doing really well and he had his own business, he said to my mom, I want you to be home with the kids. I don't want my kids. I don't know if you guys know this phrase. It's called latchkey kid. It means both parents work and you come home from school and you basically have to like fend for yourself and figure it out on your own. And he's like, he really wanted my mom to be home and focus on her art because she's an incredible artist. And she did that because that's what they decided. But that doesn't mean that she didn't have her own independence and didn't do her own thing. She's very much strong and independent in a lot of ways. But it's also what works for people. Some people both work in the relationship. Listen, I have a friend. She is huge at AIG. She has her own subsidiary at AIG, an umbrella, her own business. It took over her dad's business. Her baby daddy doesn't work. And she's like, I want him home with my daughter. I get so much more done. He handles the calendar, all the schedules, everything, all the trips, and he doesn't work. And she's okay with that. And there's no resentment between them. So it's what works for everybody.
Right. Yep.
I want my man working. I'll tell you that much.
You want what?
I want my man working. I don't want him driving me crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. Gotta do.
Dagmar, how would you feel about a guy that didn't work and you were the breadwinner?
No, it depends. Like if you think about it, my dream is that one day I want to have a ranch, small house, nature, a lot of space so I can rescue animals. If I'm the one having the online business and he's the one with me taking care of the animals and the ranch works for me. Like, I don't think I could have somebody who's not doing anything and I'm the
That's
breadwinner.
what I mean. You have to be producing something. Like, don't just like drive me crazy, always want to have sex, up my ass every minute because you're not working and you're just like, need all my attention.
So you don't want an Adonis looking pretty and sexy, but not
No, I
working.
do. And I, I'm excited about, having sex and doing all those things with a significant other because that's a huge part of a relationship. But if you're not producing anything in life and you don't have any aspirations, yes, if you had a ranch, that's beautiful. He's telling you he's taking care of all that. That's one thing. And just like my friend, they're not even married, but they've been together for a long time. They live together with their daughter, but he really runs the household. That's something different because he's contributing. I just don't want a man that's sitting around driving me nuts all day and taking away from what I'm producing and then not doing anything because then I'll start resenting.
We would like to take this moment and break in the episode to thank our sponsors. Robin Lord Law is New Jersey's premier criminal defense attorney for over 2 decades. Robin believes in justice for all and an aggressive legal approach in the courtroom, defending her clients with facts and passion. With an extremely high success rate, Robin has caught a lot of attention in the media with her bold approach in the courtroom and fabulous style. For more information, please contact Robin directly at robinlordlaw.com.
I don't think at this point in my life I could be with a partner who is not ambitious, who doesn't have a purpose or a mission and wants to accomplish something in life. But that's me, right? That just what makes me happy. Like living here in the United States, it's a little bit different than in Germany. In Germany, you have more your social system, so you're very busy with the local gym club, or if the soccer club plays, then the whole village goes there to watch and to cheer on, right? And then we have the community festivals, Carnival and Oktoberfest and stuff like that. Or like what you do, Chloe, with your elderly friend. You have so many elder neighbors, and then you go and get the groceries for them, or you help the young moms with the kids, or whatever it takes. It's a huge social system.
Yeah.
You don't have so much time there to really be ambitious or strive, right? Because in the social system, you're not there only for yourself, but also for everybody else. So I think here in the United States is a great opportunity if you are ambitious to really build something, because here the society accepts it and respects it and appreciates it.
Ashley, that's interesting because yes, I do that. I have an elderly woman that I help, and she's amazing. She's German, and I have for 3 years because she doesn't have any family here, and I really love doing that. And I was always even as a young kid, like if I saw someone elderly walking across the street with groceries and no one was helping, I would jump in. And I'm also on the board, as you know, Dagmar, this nonprofit in the marine industry space. I'm curious, Ashley, are you involved in anything here locally, any different, let's say, networks or, membership clubs or any nonprofits? Because I think it is a great way for young people to really get involved in a community like
Not yet, but I want to be. I'm like looking for something that fits me because I don't know a whole lot about South Florida yet because we just got here. But I always go on and I look at different like networking events to see what groups are out there. I'll go to like random networking events, but they're not like members only type things.
Well, we should go to one together. I'll bring you to one at the Tower Club across the street the next time I go. There's your plug,
Perfect.
Tower Club. It's not easy being women, honestly. It's not. No matter what age you are, we all have our struggles. And I'm just so proud that Ashley, again, at a young age, like you said, yes, you are mature, but of course, you're still learning yourself, like you said, and certain things will still bother you. And that's okay because you have your whole life to live and you're going to figure it out. But I think you're in a really good place where you are now and you have a good foundation, which is really important. And I think that you being on here with Dagmar and I and coming on as a guest co-host sometimes is great because it's perspectives, like I said earlier, from people of all different ages. And women want to hear that. And men too. Dag, how many men do we have? 5% of our listeners are men.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's
They
honestly
like
pretty shocking.
Yeah. You say that so lightly, Chloe. I didn't arrive yet. I grow every day and I learn every day, and there's still stuff triggering me. Today, I know better as I'm in my 20s how to deal with it in a positive way while moving forward. I think that's the difference for me. Like I want to grow until my last breath. I don't want ever not to grow or not to develop myself. I don't want
Absolutely. I'm
to
not fully
stay
developed yet.
still or go backwards.
Absolutely. I'm
You're
still a
young.
teenager, okay? Forget I'm actually 19. I hate to break the news. I'm like Benjamin Button when Brad Pitt was in that movie, Aging Backwards. No, but I think it's nice for our listeners and our viewers to have perspectives of people at different ages. We're always growing, we're always evolving. We always can improve ourselves. And there are certain things that will still trigger us no matter how old we are, but it's how we handle it and how we find that balance. And I'm friends with people of all ages, especially growing up in Jamaica. One minute I can be hanging out with someone who's 20, or I'm at my auntie's who's 60. And, she's giving me wisdom. And I think Ashley's a lovely person. I'm honestly saying this. She's also my neighbor and my friend, and my son and her daughter might be engaged soon, but that's a whole other story. And I think it's just really nice to see a young, fresh perspective, because a lot of people her age, especially in this building, living in this neighborhood, I'm not a fan of, in terms of the self-entitlement and the way they act on the street and not cleaning up their dog poop. That tells me all about who you are. And I think that we should continue the dialogue and have you on again. And I just want to know if there's anything else, Ashley, you want to add or tell us today before we go.
I don't know. I just think if you think you can do something, you can do it, and you're always growing, and you just have to keep your mind open to get better. And that's it. I mean, I don't think, now that we have this conversation, I don't think that we ever stopped growing. It's so funny because, like, when I was, let's say, 22, I'm like, I have it all figured out. I'm an adult. Oh my gosh, my life is going up and I can only go up from here. I know everything. And now I'm here and I'm like, wow, I've unlocked like a whole new level of life. Like it feels like I'm living a different life almost. I mean, I am, but the same person here physically. And I'm just kind of excited, like, what life brings next, if I keep following who I am and keep trying to get better. So, and I think that's probably how everybody is. Like, even Dagmar said she's still growing. Like, we're all just growing and we'll keep growing. And I think if you keep your mind in a positive place, you can't go backwards.
Yeah, I love that.
That's great.
And
Absolutely. Yeah, we're
my
all you have
message,
to water the flowers so they grow. They don't just grow on their
yeah,
Exactly.
own.
yeah. And my one message is similar to yours, just different words. My message is don't assume. Don't assume you know everything. Don't assume you know why they're saying something. Don't just assume what they are thinking. Don't assume that you understand their reaction. Just be curious. And I'm learning that, right? Because does not come naturally to me to be curious. Because my brain already think I have everything figured out. Eagle eye perspective, frog perspective, logical, structured, whatever. So I'm working on be more curious and stop assuming or judging.
That's beautiful. And that's amazing that you acknowledge that. Mine would be kind of a combination of both of you guys, constantly growing. Self reflecting is huge. I'm trying to do more of that because, as Dagmar knows, I react very quickly. But then in a very short amount of time, I will recognize that and I will say, I handled it wrong. I should have done it this way. There are a lot of people that are very reactive and they just keep it moving and they're not acknowledging and they're not discussing. And I think also having clear communication with people you really love and you really care about, and setting boundaries. We should at every age set new boundaries because our boundaries change as we get older. Because a boundary I might have had 5 years ago doesn't bother me anymore, but I have a new boundary now. Like if the neighbors are being disrespectful, as in loud, this is not your home, you don't live here alone. I live in a building, there's 500 units. And maybe 5, 7 years ago, I didn't care because I was being loud or whatever it may be. But those are things that affect me now. You have to respect your space and everyone around it. Dagmar's laughing. I don't really party anymore. My days are done. I'm just like, I'm a dog mom. I'm just living. I only drink once a week, 2 glasses of wine.
2
Lies.
glass.
It depends on what's happening. It's interesting because we touched on this earlier about what the doctors were saying, what Dagmar was talking about, Diary of the CEO. Every week is different. That's why Dagmar likes everything planned out. But if I have all of a sudden, there's like 4 things, if I have 4 nights in a row where I have something, whether it's a networking event, a family event, Dagmar, my parents have a lot of dinner parties and cocktail parties and going to those. So, like, for instance, Ashley and I have something tomorrow night with the dogs, and we're going to have our wine. Friday night, I have something, Saturday and Sunday. So, next week, then I'll reset and I'll take, my time for those evenings because we don't want to burn out as people, right? We want to try to have the balance. But I also don't want to restrict myself and say, well, I'm not going to this because it's the third night in a row I'm going to be out.
Let me
I'm not
ask you
hitting the
something.
rafters.
No,
What?
go ahead, Ashley. I have a question about that.
I said, and you don't have to drink. If you have
Oh,
a
that's what I'm. No,
occasion,
this is not. I'm drinking at all these events. It's I'm going out, but also even just going out like 4 nights in a row. Even let's say I don't drink one of those nights. It's just like you're out a lot at night. 4 nights. It's like, all right, I wanna kind of just relax and sit at home with Oliver, and watch my guilty pleasures. Do you
Let
see
me
what I'm
ask you a
saying?
question. What I did not realize in my 20s, I just thought that's how I am, but I did not realize how much this affects my moods, my happiness, my productivity. So now in my 50s, I know exactly I need structure. Where perhaps Chloe says this is creativity, for me, it's like overwhelming. Every night being somewhere, doing something. Because then when I come home, I still have to take care of the kitties, feed the kitties water, litter, making sure they're all good. And I have my structure in my brain, how I work, right? Well, if I only leave the house to go grocery shopping, I know it will break my structure because my daily structure from the minute I get up, what I do to the evening, but in this, I can really accomplish a lot. Do you two have that too? That's not like what I have with the logic stripe, but do you two have to be productive or to accomplish what you want? You know exactly you only want to have 3 nights out or 3 days where you do stuff, but then you want to have 2 days or 3 days after that where you can recoup and do what brings you forward. How do you handle that?
sorry, I muted you guys. Okay, sorry.
Look at Penelope.
I
She's so cute. She's like trying to get in. She's photobombing us. Don't let Oliver see her. He'll go nuts.
I love being busy. So I think if I'm busy and I have a lot of stuff, then, I'm so productive. But I do have a problem where I will go, 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 go. And then all of a sudden I like hit a brick wall and it's, I can't do anything. And I'm talking like I'm so unmotivated. I won't go on a walk. I don't want to bring the dog outside. I don't want to cook dinner. And it's like I'm throwing everything on Adam. Like, do everything, take care of me, take care of the dog, take care of yourself, take care of the house, take care of work, help me with my work. And it's just like I should probably get myself some type of structure or think on, okay, I can only handle this amount of activity before I go into one of these spirals, I guess we should call them.
But
Because that's
sometimes we
not
don't know until it actually happens and you go through it, right? So you
what
might
happens.
think that you can handle more. And then all of a sudden you're like, wait, stop. And because I'm older than you, I know that. That's why I give myself, or when Dagmar and I have episodes like she is, I am structured in a lot of ways. My entire week is planned from Sunday night for the week, for the whole entire week. I want to know everything I'm doing. And if I go out, Dagmar, same thing. And my dad's like, no, wait, the tennis, come on. And I'm like, Dad, I'm not getting home at 11 o'clock. I have to brush Oliver out. I have to clean him. I have to put in laundry. I have to change my sheets. I have to put all the dishes away. that still has to happen when I get home. So I'm leaving now. It's also about giving ourselves boundaries of when we want to be home and what we want to push ourselves to do, right? So you can say anytime, that's it, done. The next 2 days focused on me. We're all like that. I don't want to cook. When we're done, I have to make his grilled chicken, okay? His organic Trader Joe's chicken, and put a little cinnamon and honey on it so that he eats it. I don't want to do that. I'd rather, stay on here with you guys, to be honest, or,
That's
plan for tomorrow for one of my coaching clients. And I have 2 meetings, and then Ashley and Oliver and Penelope are going to hang out for a little bit so I can go to this other meeting that Ashley was kind enough to let them make out. They make out, Dagmar. You don't even know about these two. That's a whole nother
no,
session.
you cannot tell her. Adam yelled at Penelope. She's
in trouble.
yeah, that was unacceptable.
Dagmar, they were like,
We
yeah,
can't even discuss
we
in
can't even
here.
say it on the air. We can't. We literally can't. It's okay. It's
I
all
can't
right.
hear her.
Dagmar, you're on mute.
I'm not asking. I'm good. I have my own animal life
Yeah.
here.
Yeah, exactly. But it'll be fine tomorrow because Penelope's in a different place this month. So we're good.
Is she?
She's not.
Thought so, and I let that little girl sleep in my bed.
When last night?
Yeah, it happened 2 nights in a row. These past 2 nights, it's so weird.
Oof.
Not a lot, just like drops.
Right.
I will
But that
cut
happens
that
with
out.
humans.
I'm cutting that out of the text.
Okay. Go ahead. Cut it out. Couple drops.
Yeah, I can. This is not what I wish my 20s or what I wonder about my 40s.
Well, listen, in my 20s, I wouldn't be cleaning up after a dog like that. Now I would, because I have more patience. So that's relevant. But I love what each of us brings to the table and what we've all said in terms of different decades and ages and growing, constantly, constantly working on ourselves and talking to ourselves. I have conversations with myself, not out in public, obviously, but at home. I think we all should. And I love the mantra, I believe in you. I believe in myself. I believe in you. I believe in myself.
Love it. I mean, I have conversations with myself too, even out in public. Sometimes you just have to do it, you know?
We are many, right? So you never have a conversation with yourself. You could have a conversation with the little dictator in you. You could have a conversation with the young child in you. You have a conversation with the leader in you. You have the conversation with the problem solver in you.
This sounds like
So
someone who has a multiple personality disorder.
no. It's reality that there are books about it. I Am Many.
Yeah.
It's about that
Oh,
we
we
all
have
have
different
different
sides to us. Yeah.
personalities. That we all have different personalities in us, and these personalities created since childhood. So sometimes the perfectionist personality, which now talks to you in your 20s, 40s, 50s and say, no, you have to do that right. You cannot leave it like this. It's something that helped you in your childhood to accomplish homework or whatever. But now it's damaging for you because perfectionist is not a good thing. It's taking up all the energy, and nobody is perfect. Everybody has their own flaws. So it's really interesting what I know today, what I didn't know in my 20s, what I forgive myself for.
We have to give ourselves grace and forgive ourselves for any past that we've done. I am a huge advocate. The past is done. I'm living right here in the now. I'm in the moment. I pray for the future and for the world and that there's peace and love and all and everything else. But I can only be right now in this moment. I mean, I could walk outside the building right now, and Dagmar, who could walk down the street? Brad Pitt could walk down the street and my life changes forever.
Did
So
not
who knows?
think of Brad Pitt in this moment.
I am. I'm saying anything can happen. We
I
have
will
to live
never
right
forget
now.
that
Anything
again.
can happen in any
Next
moment.
time I can do it.
Yeah.
No,
Well, I love
That's
you
so
all.
true.
no, I
Yes.
actually want
No,
to
go
say
ahead,
something.
Ash. What were you saying?
No, it's okay. We're at 50 minutes.
It's okay. if you want to add something,
Perfectionist?
add it.
That's a perfectionist in you?
I was just going to say, my great grandma always used to say, forgive and forget. And I think that was her saying, live in the moment. Who cares about what happened before? I mean, learn from it, but forgive it, forget it, move on.
Absolutely. Absolutely. There's no healthy element in holding on to things and being a grudge holder and, really dwelling on the past, because it's going to have an effect on us, our health and emotionally and everything else in the future. So that being said, I would like our viewers and our listeners to know where to find us. Dagmar, where can they find us?
Spotify, Apple Podcast, Instagram, handle ProblemSolvHer without the E, and our website, Problem Solver.
We're everywhere you are, people. And we want to thank Ashley for coming back as a guest co-host.
Thank you, Ashley.
She'll be on again in the future. We love you, we see you, and we hear you. To everybody out there, ciao for now.
Just a quick note before we end. This conversation is for inspiration and empowerment only. It's not medical, mental health, or legal advice. We are not doctors, therapists, or lawyers. Just women sharing real stories and personal truth. Always seek professional guidance for your unique situation.